Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this lecture on phosphorus. I am Dr. Metabolism. Today, we will explore one of the most abundant and essential mineral in the human body, phosphorus. We will discuss its distribution, sources, absorption, functions, clinical significance, and dietary requirement. Let us begin with the body distribution of phosphorus. An adult body contains approximately 1 kilogram of phosphate, and it is found in every single cell of the body. About 80% of this phosphorus is combined with calcium in the bones and teeth, forming the structural framework of the skeleton. Another 10% is present in muscles and blood, while the remaining is widely distributed in various chemical compounds throughout the body. An important point to remember is that phosphorus holds an inverse relationship with calcium. When calcium levels are high, phosphorus levels tend to be low, and vice versa. This reciprocal relationship is crucial for maintaining proper bone mineralization and overall metabolic balance. Now, let us look at the dietary sources of phosphorus. Good sources include milk and dairy products, cereals and whole grains, leafy vegetables, meat and poultry, and eggs. So, phosphorus is widely available in both plants and animal foods, which is why deficiency is relatively uncommon in individuals with a balanced diet. Phosphorus. Phosphorus absorption occurs primarily from the jejunum, which is the middle section of the small intestine. The active form of vitamin D, the calcitriol, promotes phosphate uptake along with calcium. This is why vitamin D deficiency often affects both calcium and phosphorus levels. The absorption of phosphorus and calcium is optimal when the dietary calcium to phosphate ratio is between 1:2 or 2:1. This ratio is naturally found in milk, which is why the milk is such an excellent source of both minerals. Additionally, acidity in the gastrointestinal tract favors phosphorus absorption, while phytates, which are present in cereals and legumes, decrease phosphate uptake by forming insoluble complexes. Phosphorus performs numerous vital biochemical functions in the body. First and foremost, it is essential for the development of bones and teeth, working alongside calcium to form hydroxyapatite crystals that give strength to the skeleton. Second, phosphorus is the key component in the formation and utilization of high energy compounds like ATP, GTP, creatine phosphate. Without phosphorus, our cells would not have the energy required for muscle contraction, nerve transmission, and countless other metabolic processes. Third, phosphorus is involved in the formation of phospholipids, which are essential components of cell membrane. The phosphoproteins, which play an important role in cell signaling, and nucleic acids like DNA or RNA, which carry our genetic information. Number 4, phosphorus is an essential component of nucleotide coenzymes such as NAD, NADP, ADP, and AMP, which participate in redox reactions and energy transfer processes. Fifth, several proteins and enzymes are activated by phosphorylation, a process that adds phosphate groups to regulate their activity. This is a fundamental mechanism in cell signaling. Finally, we have phosphorus that help to maintain the pH of the blood around 7.4 through the phosphate buffer system, which is one of the body's key acid-base buffering mechanisms, right? Now, let us discuss the normal levels of phosphate in the blood. The whole blood phosphate level is approximately 40 milligram per deciliter. However, when we measure serum, the concentration is much lower about 3 to 4 milligrams per deciliter. It is important to note that hemolysis, or the breakdown of the red blood cells, should be prevented when blood is taken from phosphate for phosphate estimation. Red blood cells contain high levels of organic phosphates, and if they rupture, they can artificially elevate the measured phosphate levels. Phosphate level should be checked when there is a suspicion of renal tubular disease, where the kidney cannot properly reabsorb or excrete phosphate. In case of hyperparathyroidism or hypoparathyroidism, as parathyroid hormone regulate phosphate balance. In case of bone diseases such as rickets, muscle weakness, which can be a sign of phosphate disturbance. And finally, renal failure, where phosphate excretion is impaired. Phosphorus is primarily excreted through the kidneys. About 500 milligrams of phosphate are excreted in the urine per day. The renal threshold for phosphate is approximately 2 milligrams per deciliter. This means that when serum phosphate levels rise above this value, the kidneys begin to excrete the excess into the urine. And if the kidney function is compromised, phosphate can accumulate in the blood, leading to hyperphosphatemia. Let us now examine how various disease states affect serum phosphate levels. Serum phosphate is increased in hypoparathyroidism. In this condition, parathyroid hormone levels are low, and since parathyroid hormone normally promotes phosphate excretion, its absence leads to phosphate retention. Conversely, serum phosphate is decreased in hyperparathyroidism. Excess parathyroid hormone causes increased phosphate excretion through the kidneys, leading to low serum phosphate levels. In several other renal diseases, serum phosphate content is elevated because the kidneys cannot excrete it efficiently or effectively. This can lead to the condition called renal acidosis. Next is the vitamin D deficient rickets, and that is characterized by decreased serum phosphate levels, often falling to 1 to 2 milligrams per deciliter. This is because the vitamin D is required for phosphate absorption from the kidneys, from the intestine. Next is the renal rickets, which occurs due to kidney disease, is also associated with low serum phosphate levels and increased alkaline phosphatase activity. That is a very enzyme that is elevated in condition of increased bone turnover. In diabetes mellitus, the serum content of organic phosphate is lower than normal, while inorganic phosphate is higher. This reflects altered cellular metabolism and phosphate handling in diabetic patients. Now, let's come to the dietary requirement. The recommended dietary allowance for phosphorus is based on the intake of calcium. For adults, a calcium to phosphorus ratio of 1:1 is recommended, with the daily requirement of about 500 milligrams of phosphorus. For infants, the ratio is much higher, around 2:1, because they require more calcium for rapid bone growth relative to phosphorus. Most balanced diets provides adequate phosphorus, and deficiency is rare, except in cases of malnutrition, chronic alcoholism, and conditions that impair absorption. To summarize our discussion on phosphorus, let's chalk down its key points. Phosphorus is the second most abundant mineral in the body, with about 1 kilogram total. 8% is found in bones and teeth combined with calcium. It is absorbed from the jejunum with vitamin D enhancing its uptake. Phosphorus is essential for energy metabolism, nucleic acid synthesis, membrane structure, and acid-base balance. Normal serum phosphate is around 3 to 4 milligrams per deciliter. Phosphate levels are regulated by parathyroid hormone, and vitamin D. Abnormalities occur in parathyroid disorder, renal disease, and bone diseases. Thank you for listening. In our next session, we will discuss sodium. Thank you for watching this video.